Welcome, welcome back to A Drop of Happy, where we focus on carefree, stress well, light and lively living while reviewing and discussing all things entertainment and wellness, health and wellness, stress management, all that good stuff. I am your host, Wanda Toby, also your stress management advocate, also your I'm not really I'm not really a pop culture expert, but I'm a pop culture junkie. So you're a pop culture junkie, and there it is. Uh Journal prompt before we get started, before we hop into it. Whether you journal, like actually write it down, I'm gonna say you should, or if it's just food for thought. What the focus is for this episode, your question to get your juices going is, how does my body feel today and what does it need from me? On the physical side, how does my body feel today and what does it need from me? Every now and then, we have to stop. Sometimes we tend not to stop because sometimes we on the go, 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 go. Everything is on the go, 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 go. And when I say stop, I mean like guilt-free stop. Stop without beating yourself up about it, right? If you didn't listen, please go and listen to my Rest is Resistance Part 2. And I did the review already, so Part 2 is just really going over some of the quotes that I really like. So there's going to be a lot of parts to that because the theme, I was going to say of this year, but I really want it to be the theme of life. Rest is resistance. Come on. Let's get on board. Let's get with it. Okay. So with that being said, and going back to the journal prompt, sometimes you got to stop and just ask yourself or take an assessment of what's going on with you. In this case, it's your physical you, right? So again, how does my body feel today and what does it need from me? It might be rest. It might be take a walk. It might be new commitment to yourself to do something that you maybe have been meaning to do, but for whatever reason hadn't gotten around to it. So that is the prompt. That is the question. How does my body feel today and what does it mean for me? I wish I knew the answer to that for myself. No, I do, but that's my business. But what I do want to talk about is I'm kind of sad. Um, Harlem on Prime. It is its final season. Season 3. It has come to an end. And I just finished it. Just finished the last episode of the last season. And I am sad. I'm sad because it really was so good. And now it's done. Harlem was given like Sex in the City, but Harlem edition. And I think I've said it before in previous shows. So, and this is not like exact, but this is what it's giving me, right? Quinn is played by Grace Byers, is giving me Charlotte from Sex and the City. Camille, played by Meagan Good, is Carrie, because sometimes she a little nutty, but not in like the loyalty and the friend department, because I feel like Camille was very much that and not as self-centered as Carrie was. But we gotta place them. She's Carrie. Angie, played by Shoniqua Shandai, is Samantha. Yes. I mean, she's not like, Samantha was like the older. No. She's young, but she out there. She freaky deaky. She freaky deaky. She has no problems getting what she needs and satisfying her urges in her body. Okay. And last, Ty, played by Jerrie Johnson, is Miranda, kind of by default. Because Ty definitely gives like that boss vibe, and Miranda, being a lawyer and all of that. Uh, and Ian, played by Tyler Lepley. Oh no, y'all thought I was gonna say Ian is big. Ian is not big to me. And this is, of course, if you've watched Sex in the City. This is old school Sex in the City because I have not watched the new Sex in the City. This is old school. But Ian, to me, is Aidan if Carrie didn't mess things up, leaving his ass for big. Are y'all feeling me? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Y'all Sex in the City enthusiasts? Huh? Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm definitely like simplifying it, but you get the drift, right? So there's 3 seasons of Harlem. And it basically follows these 4 ladies through the ups and downs of basically trying to live their best professional lives and find love as they do it. So I found the series to be fun, entertaining, while also touching on some real life concerns that professional Black women have to navigate on the dating scene, and some things that just professional women have to deal with. But they sisters, I'm a sister, so I definitely was able to relate to some of the things. And I really enjoyed like the peek behind um into like their family dynamics, because that's important. Your family shapes who you are, like kind of shapes your personality, and we'll see that. We'll see that, your family explains the family dynamic that they showed, kind of explains why they are the way that they are, and they're doing some of the things that they did, and kind of having that, that look behind the veil. I enjoyed that too. And it just kind of gave an insight into um, why they made some of the choices, why they went in some of the directions that they went to. So I enjoyed that. Quinn, she is like the sweet, seemingly, right? The sweet, innocent, and idealistic one. She's like the flowers and roses and everything nice. Her family has some money. She comes from some money, okay? And she does pretty well for herself now as a boutique owner and a designer. I mean, it was a little rough and tough in the first few seasons. Not rough and tough because, she got money, but she was trying to find her way. And it kind of took her a while to find her way. But once she finally did, she was able to explore more of herself, and really like she kind of like glowed more. She kind of just exuded, uh she was like happier. This is, of course, my interpretation and what I pulled from it, but that's how it seemed. Once she figured out and was like in her bag with her craft and what she was doing, she was like in a good spot. Now Camille Camille is a hothead to me. Like she's a professor, and again, season 1 and 2, you'll get all that good stuff if you have not watched it yet, right? But she's like a hothead. She's impulsive. She's like a little hurricane. That's what I gathered. But she is really loyal and cares deeply about her friends. And she eventually finds the love that she deserves. Angie too. Um, she is searching for herself and also finding good sex wherever she can. Because, like I said, she gets hers. Okay, she's definitely the free spirit of the crew. And I love that. I love that she kind of throws caution to the wind a lot of times, but also struggles to find her true calling. That's realistic to me because we want to live, but then we're just like, ugh, I need to figure out this life. Like, I want to live my best life, but I need to figure out how to do that. What's good? What does it really look like? Um, that's real. That's realistic, right? Ty, like I said, she comes across as the confident, insecure one. She comes across as the confident, insecure one in all the ways, right? But at the same time, like, that seems to be where her complexity comes from. Like, I do enjoy how these characters, they were a little bit layered. They weren't, to me, they were not one-dimensional characters, although they did kind of, like, uh they did highlight, their those aspects of their personalities that kind of like made them or separated them from each other. But at the same time, they were layered again to me. And Ty was, yeah, she gave off that, yeah, I got it, I'm all good, you can't tell me nothing, I get all the girls, because she was lesbian. I'm all that. But as common sometimes, in reality, she wasn't all that secure at all. In reality, it seemed like it was a front. Like, she appears to have it all together financially and emotionally and all that. She loves playing the field, so not relate. I mean, she really didn't have relationships, but romantically, she was confident too. But ultimately, that was a facade, specific, because it was really like nothing but smoke and mirrors, child, smoke and mirrors. Really, to hide the fact that, uh, again, I keep liking to preface to say, to me, that she's scared of facing confrontation, scared of facing emotional rejection, and professional too. But she's managed to overcome that, and just, making these real life choices. Man, she don't want to grow up and face consequences and make real life choices. When things get like emotional and she runs. She's a runner, she's a track star. Okay. And we follow them all through the 3 seasons, the ups and downs of the family drama, finding themselves. And season 3, to me, like, I thought the other seasons were my favorite, but then season 3 came and I'm like, oh, season 3 is my favorite. Now, y'all know I love a happy ending, not in the massage parlor kind of way. I love when it all comes together and they tie it up with a cute little bow. And yes, okay, that's why I engage in these things, because what I say, life has enough tragedy. Life is traumatic, all that matic enough. Okay. Um, and the first 2 episodes of season 3 from me were so good. So what's the lesson to be learned? Because I am going to get into some spoilers, but I want to close it out for those of you who want to watch it and don't want to get into the spoilers. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But the lesson learned is know your worth. That is the lesson learned. Know your worth. Okay? Now, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm dying. Come on back now, you hear? All that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe, because if you enjoyed it, why not share it? Share the love, spread the word. Remember to live light, stress well, because I'm about to get into the spoilers, and if you don't want to hear it, bye-bye. So, let's talk about season 3, which I really enjoyed. Let's talk about how Camille is crazy, or she was a little crazy. You know, I already feel like she's a little neurotic and whatnot, but in this season, in the first few episodes, not the first few, I'm gonna tell you why, but episode one and two, episode one, she was all right. Episode two, I was like, oh, this heifer, that she about to lose her mind. And she got pregnant, y'all. And I would like to blame that on her pregnancy and her hormones. Like once I found out she was pregnant, I was like, oh, that's why she acting crazy. But she be acting a little, she been acting a little crazy, a little, you know, a little just impulsive and all that. So to catch you up to speed, at the end of season two, after she broke up, no, after she broke up Ian's engagement and got back together with him, right? They spent some time in the honeymoon phase. All right. It was all nice. This was season two. And then Camille finds out that her chances, it's not that she can't have a baby, her chances of having a baby are super, 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 super slim. So then she decides that she doesn't want a baby. And I actually had a problem with how she handled this because she never confided in Ian about her fertility issues. and that may have had a different outcome. He may have but she had it, and then she was just like, well, I don't want babies anyway. And let me pause. Let's pause. Let's talk about this. Because I feel like we do this a lot. You know, it's like a defense mechanism to me. Because like when you know something's not gonna happen or the chances of it happening, you be like, well, I don't want it anyway. I didn't want it anyway. You know, like relationship wise, things aren't going well. You'd be like, well, I wanted to be single anyway. I don't want a man. Or I never wanted to get married. Or well, you lie. You did. No shade, because I do it too. But we do that sometimes. So I feel like that was like her knee-jerk reaction. Well, I don't want a baby. I thought about it. It's too hard. I can't, so I don't want to confront it. I don't want to, because this is like where there was a little flaw, because if she really like cared about Ian and his feelings, knowing that he wanted to have a baby, I don't know if she would have made that decision unilaterally, right? And of course there were other issues maybe why she came to that conclusion, but I wasn't a fan on how they handled that last season. I really wasn't. So, but Ian was like, look, I want to have a baby. Like, I really want to, you know. So this kind of left Ian out in the cold because, again, he really wanted to have kids. He wanted to have a family. He wanted to do all that with Camille. And she's like, well, I don't want it. Didn't even tell him, all right, I'm going to stop harping on that because I was bothered. They end up breaking up over it. Okay, so fast forward to season 3. They decide, well, they can be exes with benefits. Listen, if friends with benefits was already a problem, how you think exes with benefits gonna work out? It's not. It's not. Again. So, because she wanted to get her little rocks off, and he was just like, hey, I'm gonna get my little rocks off for free. Okay, boo. So they spending time together, they sleeping together, it's on and popping. On and popping. But turns out Ian is seeing other people and ends up getting together with his childhood friend. And here's the thing. So there's a part, I think I have a pride issue personally, because so there is a scene, I think it's the second episode, where she was just like, oh, you're going on a date. And she's trying to play it really cool, but she's bothered. And she's like, well, maybe, afterwards you could come on back. Which I wouldn't, after you could come on back. I don't know what they're doing on that date. Talking about after you could come on. He could have went and hunched and whatever, and then he gonna come on back to no, you go on your date, boo, and you go on your date. But she was just like, after you could come on back. That was 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, she's like, oh yeah, let me tell you, okay? Had that been I, or I feel like any sensible female, but maybe I'm wrong. If you did not hit me up, it's been 2 weeks. We've been knocking boots regularly, hooking up regularly, and all of a sudden, after you go on this date, you do not hit me up. But that's it. I'm not trying to get with you anymore. So I don't understand. I don't understand why she was still trying. So then she ends up. I'm giving you. I didn't mean to go into all this, but I was just like, what? So then she ends up like sending him a clip pic, a pee pic, uh, and she didn't get the reaction that he wanted, and she's like, yo, embarrassed to me. She embarrassed herself. But okay. Anyway, let's fast forward. So she ends up seeing him with his childhood friend, and he's just like, look, we're getting together. We're getting together. So let's just pause there. So this, of course, throws Camille into a state. This is where I'm just like, oh, she really crazy. Like she was being a little extra. Yeah. So, and it's during this time, like she ends up finding out that she's actually pregnant. So she tells Ian. He is like somewhat happy, but doesn't seem overjoyed. And we just like, okay, Ian, because you wanted a baby, but I get it. You're not with her anymore. You with somebody else. Yada, 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 whatever. So at first, Camille's like, well, I don't want to keep this baby. Because ultimately, she was afraid that she'd be a terrible mother like her narcissistic mother was to her. And the doctor was just like, listen, you need to think really hard about this because this might be your only chance because it's already slim to none. So I know you're thinking, oh, I got pregnant this time. I can get pregnant again. No, boo. She's telling you no. So she had to weigh. So she had to weigh that. But the real reason was because her mama. In that little clip, what her mama is, yeah, her mama is very selfish, very self-centered. Okay, so Camille does get some comforting advice from Ian's aunt, and she ultimately decides to keep the baby. So she tells Ian, and Ian tells her, of course, I'll help out, whatever, but he's staying with Portia. I believe that's his current girl's name, because he cares for her. And meanwhile, the real truth, the truth of the matter is they bonded over wanting to have kids. She was a rebound. Let's pump the brakes. She was a rebound, and she was a really good. It was just like, oh, you know what? We're childhood friends. We're good. Yada yada yada. And she wants to have babies, and I want to have babies. Sometimes, hear me out. Let's pause. Sometimes, when something doesn't go right in like one relationship, then we meet somebody else. Like y'all could do this subconsciously because we haven't dealt with the real reason why we broke up with that person or why it didn't go well or what have you. Then we meet somebody else. And sometimes we try to substitute all those things that were missing from the relationship that we really wanted. Are y'all feeling me? Because what happened was, and that is how a rebound comes about, because you're just trying to fill the gap of what you just lost. So what had happened was, bear with me, he already had a good relationship with this chick because they were friends, whatever. They were cool. They had a good relationship. But she wanted to have kids and wanted to have a family, all the things that Camille didn't want. And he's like, oh my gosh, I can have it all. I can have this person that I enjoy my time with. And at the same time, she wants to give me babies and wants to have a family and wants to do all those things. She was a rebound. But now he's in it. And he doesn't want to be that guy. So he's like staying committed to this situation. So how that happened was she came to freeze her eggs and her embryos, her eggs, and was just like, hey, I'm coming to freeze her. I imagine because they didn't show it, but hey, I'm coming to freeze my eggs. And they bonded over that process and boom, now they together. So as time goes on, right, as time goes on and Ian is helping Camille with her pregnancy, Portia realizes that he still has feelings for Camille. And then she confronts him, not like oh my God, but a situation happens and she's just like, yo, you still love Camille. He did not deny it. And then she leaves. Know your worth. Know your worth. Because some people would have tried to force that situation. No, boo. And honestly, I feel like we don't know. Sometimes we don't know what the guy be saying. Because they be lying to themselves. So then they lying to you because they're not honest with themselves. People do that. People do that. Guy, women, people do that. Like if we're not honest with ourselves, well, we're darn sure not gonna be honest with you. Okay? So who knows what he told her for her to believe that, okay, he is open. He has let go of this previous person and he's really open to love me, when in reality he was not, because you were a rebound. But how are we supposed to know that? That's why relationships suck. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but how are we supposed to know that? That's the risk. Like, how are you supposed to know that you're not really over the person that you said you was over? But anyway, know your worth. She was like, you know what? I need somebody who loves me. Okay? So she bounced. And he was free. Because honestly, he shouldn't have started that whole relationship with her. Clearly, obviously, like, stop it. That's just, he was just filling in the gaps. Filling in the gaps. And it seemed like Portia, I hope that's her name, child, could give him what he wanted. The only problem is that he really wanted all those things with Camille. Like, it looked good. It looked good on paper, like it looks good on paper. But you're not who I wanted it with. Ultimately, I'm glad Portia came to her senses and realized that no, this ain't it. And didn't try to force herself into that situation, and she left. I'm very happy that she did that. And again, happily ever after. They got their happily ever after. She ended up having a baby, and all of her friends were by her side. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful ending, y'all. If y'all didn't think so, I thought so. Anyway, let's go to Quinn. Quinn too had a bout of finding her sense of self. Or no, had a bout of getting her self-worth tested, like putting it to the test. Because okay, she got with this foreign child. He was a cutie patootie. He was the dude in okay, y'all remember what the heck is that thing called? Which is funny because that's what Sophia, no, Angie was playing in Girls Trip. He was the guy in Girls Trip that Jada Pinkett Smith character hooked up with. What was his name? Kofi Siriboe. I'm probably didn't say that last name right. My bad. But good looking. I think he played baseball. He played some type of ball, y'all. Okay. And she fell in love with him and he promised to give her everything she ever wanted. Of course, did it start out like that? No. She was just like, I don't want nothing. We cool. I don't want nothing. We just want to, I just want to hit it and quit it. Or, so she said, but they'd been going out for months, and it was giving all the feels and all the whatever. But then, he was like, he loves her too, and he wants to give her everything that she wants. But there was a catch. He stated he had strong feelings for her as well, and wanted her to be his main chick. I'm sorry, what? Did you say, sir? Did you say main chick? Yes, wanted her to be the main chick. Turns out that he is into polyamory. He's polyamorous, and he had a partner who was totally fine with sharing him, all good. So Quinn was like, okay, I could have everything. I could have the babies. I could have whatever. I just have to, I can be the main chick. I just have to, you know, share this man. So Quinn went to meet with them. And okay. So she went to meet with them, and she was really overwhelmed by the girlfriend asking her 201 questions about her sex life and getting tested, and just explaining to her what this situation would look like. And not for nothing, I feel like the girlfriend did that on purpose, because she could scare anybody off with her little with that whole thing, because it was a lot. It was a lot. Again, if you were okay with it or whatever, but it definitely was not what Quinn was expecting. And she was like, oh no, I can't do this. But again, I really, like, the girl could set this up, and anybody would run. The way she was coming off, no. So it completely turned Quinn off, which I can relate. And she was out. She was like, you know what? No, thank you. Thank you, but no thank you. So again, know your self-worth, but more than knowing your self-worth, know your boundaries. Know your boundaries and your self-worth. And because if you know those things, like if you already have standards, then you'll know when to exit a situation, right? It's extremely important. And this goes across the board for not relationships, just in general. It is actually one of the things I talk about when we're talking about stress management and things like that. Like knowing your values, knowing your self-worth, knowing your standards, knowing your boundaries, like thinking about these things. If you don't think about them, because when you get in a situation, basically you'll know what you have to do. You won't have to be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I mean, maybe a little bit, but you'll know, because you know who you are. So Quinn was like, oh, maybe. And then when she was in it, she was like, oh hell no. I can't do this. No. But then she ended up deciding that, she too will freeze her eggs, because she's not getting any younger and stuff. And she, she'll look at a sperm. She will, and she can have this baby on her own without a partner. So then at the appointment, okay, so at the end in season 2, she discovered that she was bi, okay? And she was dating this politician, this female politician. And I don't remember what, she got a little needy, because Quinn can get a little needy, okay? And for whatever reason, I don't remember what the reason was, but they ended up not working out. But they really had chemistry and really kind of liked each other. They really enjoyed each other's company. Quinn really liked her. She really liked Quinn right back. So, but again, I think Quinn, honestly, if I'm being honest, if I remember correctly, I think Quinn overreacted. Like, for real. If I remember correctly, I think Quinn was like she had something, I don't remember exactly. And Quinn didn't like that she left her hanging or something. And I might be totally making this up, because I don't remember exactly. But bottom line is they broke up. Well, guess what? At the appointment where she goes to it's like a little seminar where she goes to, get more information regarding the freezing of the egg and the donors and all that. Guess who she sees? The ex. So, it wasn't like straight boom, here you go in your face, but it was a good enough ending for me. I actually appreciated it and liked it and enjoyed it. So in actuality, Ty and Angie, they're like the most interesting to me of this season. Their story, really Angie's story, because I was like, oh, I was waiting for the other shoe. Oh, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. So let's talk about Ty. Ty, at the end of season 2, her crazy behind. First of all, when I tell you, Ty, maybe Ty should have been Samantha, actually, from Sex and the City instead of Angie. But actually, she really does fit as Miranda. Anyway, as Miranda. But anyway, at the end of the season, Ty found herself in just the most jacked up situation because, you know, she was out in these streets being a hoe, being just killing them. But then she met this flower shop or this plant shop keeper, and she started to really vibe with her. But she was still like, she hadn't stopped her in the street ways, right? Well, one night she goes over to the florist's house, and they're really getting to know each other. She's really starting to feel that, oh, she's starting to feel like she can be in a relationship with this person. Pause, pump your brakes, because the person's daughter comes out and was just like, yo, how you know my mom? And your mom's like, how you know my daughter? Well, turns out Ty was hooking up with the daughter too. Ciao. So that's how that ended. So fast forward to season 3. Ty's like, you know what? I have made some questionable decisions. I am being celibate. I am chilling. I'm not getting into all that. Boom. I'm not doing it. And Quinn is like, well, what's celibacy gonna do for you? And I have to agree with her, because you just doing one action to, again, avoidance. Didn't I tell y'all that Ty be avoiding stuff? So now she's just gonna avoid intimacy because she made poor decisions. Like Ty. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Ty meets this chick who's helping her get some funding for her company. And the chick is bad, and she likes the chick, what have you. But she's like, she tells the chick is flirting with her, giving her mad vibes. But she tells the chick, listen, I'm bad news. Okay. They made a whole website about me because I'm bad news. And listen, I'm a walking red flag, whatever. And the chick's like, whatever, we always think we're going to be the one to change somebody. In this case, she was, but the chick was like, it's all good. We, see, you make choices, whatever. So Ty ended up getting with the chick. But again, what did she find out? Ty ran away from her husband. Ty ran away from her family because she didn't want to confront. Like, how you come out and just run and don't face the consequences, or don't face what your family has to, like. When I tell you she's a runner, she's a track star, because that's what she does. So Ty is supposed to like Ty's really feeling her, like really feeling they Ty in love, okay? So she's supposed to go meet the mama. So she gets a cab, she goes over there, and they see her coming out the cab. And the mama was Robin Givens, by the way, who still looks good. How old is she? Hold up. Listen, she is 60 years old. And when I tell you she looked good, goals. Okay, Robin. Okay, sis. Anyway, that was her girl. That was Ty's girlfriend's mama. All right, focus. Rewind, okay? So they see her getting out the cab, and then she texts. She's like, "Oh, babe, I'm so sorry, I'm not gonna be able to make it." Got held up at the baby shower because they were doing a baby shower for Camille. And the girl's like, "But I see." She didn't say anything. She's like, "Oh, okay, bet you gonna embarrass me, bet." So then, of course, Ty, what does Ty? What do people who avoid confrontation do? Because I'm one of those people. Boy, Ty wants to act like it's all good. Ty wants to act like that didn't happen. Ty wants to pretend like it didn't happen. And the chick's like, get somebody else to do it. We not cool. You played me. Blah, blah, blah. I saw you get out the car. Blah, blah. And Ty's like, I'm afraid of dealing with emotion. Blah, 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 blah. And the girl's like, I don't care. I don't care. You figure your life out. But we done. And Ty, now this is growth. This is mature Ty. Ty tracks down the mama, and Ty's like, listen, I'm so sorry. I don't even know if this is going to get me back, but I want to apologize to you. Let me drive you to the airport, blah, blah, blah. Let's spend some time. Let's talk. Da, 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 da. Ty ends off hitting it with the mama. The mama ends up calling the girl, this is over some time, and being like, listen, you got to get back together with Ty. She ends up, Ty confesses her love, blah, blah, blah. Another nice little happily ever after bow. Love it. And it's crazy because Ty was never about that life. And now she is. And last, but definitely not least, because you thought, well, I thought that Angie's story, I was like, I don't know how this is going to end, but I knew it wasn't going to end. I knew it wasn't going to end with a marriage. Oh, Angie. So, season 2, at the end of season 2, Angie got engaged. Angie got engaged to Mike. Okay. And we're like, okay. And then in season 3, Angie got a call back for Girls Trip, the musical. And there's a lot of buzz, blah, 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 like it's good. So now we start getting little vibes that Mike is not as perfect as we thought. And Mike is like, first, and honestly, at first, I thought Angie was going to be a problem. I thought Angie was going to be a problem, but really, Angie was just being Angie. Because they were trying to find a venue, and I thought I'm like, does Angie really want to marry him? Because she's being mad difficult about this venue, and she wants to be all extra, blah, 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 blah. But Mike got the dough. Because, I'm a broke girl. So I'm a broke, frugal girl. So I'm like, whoa, slow down, chick. But, Mike got the dough. She wanted the elaborate, blah, blah, but she wasn't listening to Mike because Mike wanted things a little smaller. They ended up working through that. And Angie realized, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm not really like paying attention to your concern about the size of the wedding, whatever. But then we start to see Mike also being a little controlling. And I'm like, well, maybe he's not. This is my thought process. I'm like, well, maybe he's not. Maybe it's just because Angie is being a little extra. No, Mike is being a little something. So when it comes to, okay, so then Mike's like, hey, you don't need to work. He starts like low-key belittling her efforts as she is practicing and rehearsing for this show, to the point where she's having like doubts, which is kind of difficult. Listen, when you're an artist and you're in a creative space and you're doing so with the hopes of it being good, and you don't know until it's going to be released. So sometimes you need a little confidence booster. You need a little, even though she was excited about it and there's buzz about it and she knew she was good, when you got that one person in your head, in your ear, already like hyping up your negative self-thoughts, you're just like, oh, which that's Mike was doing. So I was just like, oh no, she's not going to be the problem. He's going to be the problem. I'm like, what's going to be? Well, he was being a real dick about the whole situation. So eventually she was like, you know what? I'm good because you don't support me. So where it came to a head was so they did the play. It was a success. It was a huge success. Okay. And he was still like belittling her a little bit. Like, you could tell he was not about it, and it would have been a problem. So, a producer who saw the play was just like, oh my God, you'd be great for this movie, but it's shooting at this time, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, oh, so Mike's face completely dropped. He's like, oh, that's during our wedding. So just assumed that she was going to be like, oh no. Well, I feel like, you know what, he should have been, and maybe, but this is a movie. Like, this is a movie. This is like, so I feel like he should have been like, girl, we can move the wedding, which you can. But he just assumed she was going to say no. And again, he was condescending. He was quite condescending. That's what it was. He was quite condescending. So it was just like that whole vibe. Like, you wanted her to miss this great opportunity. Like, once in it could have been once in a lifetime. We don't know. Like, she was like, all right, bye. Again, this is why the theme is know your worth. Because she was like, Nah. And she could have been taken in by the money, taken in by the, because he didn't mind dropping a coin now. She was well taken care of and things like that. But she was like, this is my dream. This is my, um and I think it was mostly, to me it seemed like mainly the way he didn't support her, and he didn't take her craft seriously. So she was like, "Oh, this is how it's gonna be. This is how it's gonna roll. Bet, bet." And she was like, "Nah, we not getting married." And I applaud her for that, because what? And also, so what happens? Fast forward, Camille's water breaks at the after the show, and they all rush to the hospital, and it's a beautiful scene with all of them there. The mom, crazy narcissistic mom, is there, Ian is there, and the three besties are there to welcome in Camille's new baby. It was so lovely and so cute. I am a hopeless romantic, so yeah, I definitely love that ending. Let me tell you, that ending was great. Um, um, Being Mary Jane ending was great. I love that. And Insecure, I love the Insecure ending as well. Um, yeah, so it was a really nice way to wrap it up. Um, were there some other things that happened? I can't remember if there are. So we're gonna close out. We're gonna close out. Okay. What is the question, the journal prompt? How does my body feel today? And what does it need from me? And what's the theme? What is the theme? What is the lesson learned from this season of Harlem? Know your worth. Can we say it again for the people in the back? Know your worth. Okay. This is a must. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Come back, bookmark it, set the alarm, whatever you got to do. Okay, spread the word. Okay, and live light, stress well, and thanks for listening.